It's been a roller coaster of a season for Mizzou basketball, but you know what? I'll take riding a roller coaster over standing in line and watching any day. We've got another dramatic buzzer beater to break down and more on Mizzou Xtra.
KOMU8's Mizzou Xtra starts now.
With just 3 games to go, Mizzou Hoops is back to building momentum as the regular season winds down. Plus, Mizzou Gymnastics making history with a "you've got to see this" performance, and the story of one Tiger women's basketball player making her childhood dreams come true inside Mizzou Arena. All that and more right now. It's Mizzou Xtra.
KOMU8's Mizzou Xtra is presented by Harper Evans, Wade, and Nettemeyer, and brought to you by these sponsors.
These 2 guys are going to be college head coaches one day. I'm dead serious. Mark my word.
That's Trey Gomillion and Nick Honor he's talking about, both showing signs of strong leadership on and off the floor. Welcome to another edition of Mizzou Xtra. I'm KOMU8 Sports Director Ben Arnett. And it was no secret. Tuesday's overtime thrilling win against Mississippi State was a must-win for the Tigers. In the end, it came down to Nick Honor returning to form from behind the arc. After scoring just 4 points in regulation on Tuesday, Honor took over in overtime, and he ran with it, scoring 6 of the Tigers' 9 points in OT, including that game-winning three-pointer. It had been a rough stretch for number 10. He only scored 10 points total in the previous 2 weeks, including a scoreless outing against Texas A&M. But Honor's overtime bounce back was the product of trusting the process.
I think it's those times when you're not able to hit shots that makes it that much better. Kind of like Coach Gates said, I haven't really been shooting my capability. So, I mean, it's like you said, just staying with the work.
I'm so glad he hit it, man. If I could hit it or he could hit it, I would for sure tell him to hit it because he needed it. He shoot better. He knocked it down. We won.
Yeah, so how about that other coach in the making? Sidelined by a groin injury for more than a month, Trey Gomillion, he got the green light. He hit the floor running again. Gomillion returned in last weekend's loss to the Aggies, but really returned to form against Mississippi State. Gomillion's team leading 10 rebounds against the Bulldogs were essential in a back-and-forth game that had 19 lead changes. One of the veterans on this team, the Cleveland State transfer's leadership, may be his biggest contribution in returning to the lineup.
He's a glue guy. He just does everything nobody else wants to do. It may not show up in the stat sheet every time. It did tonight, obviously, but he just brings a lot of energy, a lot of leadership.
He plays with a lot of passion, and that passion can be seen. It can be literally seen every step that he takes on that court.
Plenty more on Tiger Hoops coming up in the show. Well, after 11 games in 10 days, the new look Mizzou softball team is off to a great start as they head to one of college softball's premier early season events, the Mary Nutter Classic in Cathedral City, California. Mizzou left the state of Florida with a 9-2 record, impressing head coach Larissa Anderson. Now, the Mary Nutter Classic features plenty of top-level competition, including a matchup for the Tigers with 24th-ranked Oregon on Saturday night. 15 different Tigers have earned a start in the field so far this season, creating a don't-go-it-alone mentality.
If you're going to go to the field and take reps, don't go alone. If you're going to go in for extra work, don't go alone. Bring someone with you. And that's really the motto that they've been together. Because, again, they can't do it alone. And I think that's really special that they established that. You know, it's under our own umbrella, but they established that within the culture of the program to know that they can't do it alone.
Meanwhile, Mizzou Gymnastics is reaching for new heights with 3 meets to go in their regular season. They upset number 5 Auburn last Sunday with a season-high 197.450 team score. And Jocelyn Moore scored a perfect 10 on the vault. That's the first perfect 10 that Mizzou has ever had on that apparatus and just the third 10 ever in program history. And there's still room to improve for a Tiger team that finished in the top 5 nationally last year. If you take the team's highest score in each event and super score them, the resulting score is a 197.9. That would be 4th in the SEC, only behind Florida, LSU, and Alabama, some of the best programs in America. It would be 9th best in the country. For results from Mizzou's Friday meet against Arkansas, be sure to check out KOMU.com. Well, coming up, Mizzou Xtra basketball analyst Jarrett Sutton joins me next as we look ahead to the possibilities of March Madness. And later in the show, Mizzou women's basketball has a hometown player fulfilling a lifelong goal. We take a look at her journey in just a bit on Mizzou Xtra. Welcome back to Mizzou Extra. It is time to go one-on-one with our Mizzou Extra basketball analyst, Jarrett Sutton, as we break down another big-time Mizzou win. And hey, Jarrett, from one big shot maker to another, when you look at the play that Nick Honor made the other day, it's too far to say it was season-saving, but Missouri really needed that win, and Nick Honor stepped up in the big spot.
Yeah, they needed it, and I'm happy for Nick Honor. I think the comments after the game of Dennis Gates and some of the guys of saying he needs to shoot more, I think is valid. Nick Honor's had some great games shooting the ball. He's a 39% three-point shooter, and he's such an important piece of this Mizzou team. Obviously, Nick is an older player. He's a guy that's established. His goal and role is to play the point guard position, be a passer, be a leader, defender. But he can score it and he can shoot it, and it was a great moment for him. Tough shot, sidestep, a little bit of a step back three, contested. And look, like you said, Missouri's had some big quality wins. They've hit some big shots. DeAndre Golston's been that a couple times, and now it's Nick Honor. But it goes to show you this team, it's an older team. It's a team that finds ways to win. They've won close games, a good amount of them throughout the season. And this is another one, and it's one they really needed. I don't know if it was a backbreaker, but this helps the resume. It's another quad one win. And they're in a great spot here as they have 3 games left before we start talking SEC tournament, and still a lot to play for with everything in front of them.
Let's talk more about the clutch nature of this team, the way that they have won these close games, these one-possession games, these games that go down to the final possession. I asked Dennis Gates about it the other day. He said it builds confidence. What do you think this builds in this team, proving to themselves over and over they can win close games as we get ready to talk about the biggest games of the season into the postseason?
Well, I think it's a great thing when it's not just one person that's making shots and making plays to win you a game. Kobe Brown, Demoy Hodge are probably the 2 guys that have been most consistent, that have to play well for Missouri to have a chance, and they played well against Mississippi State. But Noah Carter hit a big 3, in the overtime period, and that was a big moment. So big shots were made by different people in the Mississippi State win. But hey, I go back to what I tell most Mizzou fans is the game that was played at Wichita State when it was Missouri's first true road test. They had a lead. They let the lead slip away. They found a way to win in overtime in a tough place to play. That was the first start for me of thinking this team might be different, and especially since they have older guys that they found a way to win a close game, and they could have easily, quit. They could have easily said, hey, it's not our night. We gave up a lead and they're going to beat us. They find a way to scratch and claw back and win a game. And I think in the Mississippi State game, you look at Kobe Brown missing a layup at the end of regulation. I don't know if he lost the ball. There might have been a little contact, but you look at Kobe Brown, he was kicking himself. I think he was down. He is Mizzou's best player, arguably, in terms of just what he brings this team. Both ends of the floor, had a chance to win the game and missed a layup and a shot that he usually makes. Everybody picks up Kobe in that overtime period, and that's what this team's made of. And it's great to see end of February. March is right around the corner. We're in our last week. There's 3 games left. You get a win like that against a great defensive team, by the way, in Mississippi State. That was a tough, gritty game where Missouri wins, and then they don't hit the 70-point mark, which is always the magic number for me. They get 66, find a way to win an overtime game. It was a drag-it-out, possession-by-possession game, and they found a way to win. And tough teams do that, and experienced teams do that. That, to me, is a great sign for this team moving forward.
I mean, that's a really good point because it's easy to get lost in the dramatics of buzzer beaters, but you make a good point bringing up that Wichita State game and some others where it's not just the dramatic wins, it's the tough, gritty wins, and that all adds up to your resume. You mentioned Missouri's one of just a handful of teams in the country with 5 quad one wins as they get into the final 3 games of the regular season. But 3 of these last 3 games they play, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, those were 3 of the bottom 4 teams in the SEC. So as we go down the stretch in the regular season, they're not really in resume building mode. They're in resume protection mode. Games that if they win don't really do a lot for them, but they can't lose these, can they, Jarrett?
No, they can't lose these games. I think that the quad one wins still, to me, matter most. And I know so much is made of Selection Sunday and the process that goes into that, the net ranking and all that. But the fact that Missouri, like you said, a handful of teams to have 5 or more quad one wins and no losses there, I think is really a great testament to where this team is at resume-wise. They've had plenty of quality wins. Missouri is a team that's got a top 10 offense. Defensively, they're probably not where you'd want them to be, obviously, but they're a team that when you look at the numbers behind them, they fit a team that should very much be in the NCAA tournament right now. Now it's all about, playing and helping yourself and getting better on your seed line. But I don't think this is a conversation about the NCAA tournament right now, because I think for Missouri, they got 3 games in front of them that are winnable games that could get them a double bye in the SEC tournament. And I think that is right now should be the biggest goal in terms of putting yourself in a good position in the SEC tournament where you could win a game or 2 in the SEC tournament and help yourself even more. So like I said, there's still so much to be done. And I think it's easy to fall in the trap of, looking at Lunardi and looking at all the projections. And right now, that's not what you should be doing. It's one game at a time. You go to Georgia, you go to LSU, you got Ole Miss at home, one game at a time. You got to go to Georgia. It's a sneaky team. Mike White's been a head coach in this league. He knows this league inside and out. So you got to put your best foot forward and win a game, an early game too, on Saturday, and give yourself a position, a chance to have, a position to take the next step forward. Then it's on to LSU. Then it's on to Ole Miss, one at a time. Can't look too far ahead, but I still think it's going to come down to putting yourself in the best position to make it a better opportunity for you to win games in the SEC tournament, because I still think there's games to be had and one that helps you to get into a better seed in the NCAA tournament. Everything takes care of itself. Everything is in front of Missouri. You just don't want to have, one of those games where you don't play well, you get snake bit, and you lose some games you really shouldn't.
Yeah, real quick before we get out of here, you bring up good points that, this team is trying to protect its spot right now. You've been on teams like this. How do you keep from getting too tight down the stretch whenever you're trying to protect your resume?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I think it's one of those things where obviously Mizzou's had some streaky play, right? They had a huge win at Tennessee that follows with Auburn, where they just don't start fast at all. And Texas A&M at home, they don't start fast. You look up and you think, man, if Mizzou could win these last 2 road games, they're a 500 team on the road. It's another great sign of a team that, we were talking a few weeks back of this team struggled to win games on the road. And look, this league is a good league. And when I looked at it, you look at the SEC and the 20-win teams, Missouri's 1 of 4. And that's a great spot to be in. I think, too, Ben, that Mississippi State game with the 12 ties and 19 lead changes, that to me builds character within a team at the right time. And you want to be peaking at the right time. To do that, everybody together, one possession at a time, and understand this team is getting better in areas it needed to get better in, rebounding the ball, team defense, limiting turnovers. We'll see what happens with, other pieces of the puzzle. Does Isaiah Mosley come back? That's a big part of the question mark right now with this team. But ultimately, they're finding ways to win games in different ways. And the fact that they won a game scoring less than 70 points, that is the biggest sign for me in terms of finding ways to win, where it's not just predicated on your offense. You got to find ways to win in multiple ways. And that includes defense. That includes rebounding. That's so important in the NCAA tournament, especially when you're not making shots.
Yeah, and a note, Dennis Gates said the other day he expects Mosley and DeGray to end up back on the floor at some point this season. Jarrett, we'll keep watching all the predictions, and we will talk to you again next week.
All right, Ben, thanks a lot.
Jarrett Sutton, our Mizzou Xtra basketball analyst. Coming up next, more hoops, the story of Avery Kroenke when we return on Mizzou Xtra. Welcome back. If you walk around the Mizzou Athletic Sports Park, you'll spot plenty of local products and Tiger uniforms. In fact, every Columbia high school currently has at least one athlete on a Mizzou roster. And as KMU8's Kyle Helm shows us, staying home has allowed one local Tiger to live out her lifelong dream.
Rockbridge has produced some of Robin Pinchton's standout stars. Sophie Cunningham, Lindsey Cunningham, Bree Porter, and Sierra Porter all were former Bruins that sported the black and gold. And although she might not share the Cunningham or Porter name, another hometown talent is already making the future of the program look bright. A lifelong dream.
I've wanted to come here since I can remember.
That became reality.
Definitely when I got here, any little thing would just be like the coolest thing. Like first time walking in Mizzou Arena was like, oh my gosh. First time being in the locker room was just really cool.
Rockbridge alum Avery Kroenke took her talents less than 3 miles up the road to Mizzou Arena in 2022. In 4 seasons as a Bruin, Kroenke led Rockbridge to 3 district titles and 87 wins. However, transitioning to the SEC wasn't going to be easy.
The players are definitely longer, faster, more physical.
But Kroenke has already settled in.
It's one of those things, the more times you get in, those situations, it becomes more normal. I don't get as nervous, I guess, as I did in the beginning.
And a couple former Bruins, well known for lighting up Mizzou Arena, helped out.
Both of them are amazing. I can't say enough good things about them. They're always just, great mentors to have.
It used to be a surreal feeling to suit up in the black and gold, but now it's all business.
Every day in practice, just trying to prepare the best I can. If I know I'm prepared, I know I'm ready for whatever minutes or moments come my way.
The freshman guard appeared in each of the Tigers' first 14 SEC games, shooting more than 40% from the field and recording 9 steals, good enough for 5th on the team. And head coach Robin Pinchton is impressed.
One of the best motors I've ever been around. She's a fierce competitor. Don't let that smile fool you. She wants to win at everything she does.
It might not always be easy to keep local talent home.
People think that local kids are the easiest to keep home, but they're not.
But it was an obvious choice for Kroenke.
Mizzou's always been my dream school.
A lifelong dream Kroenke gets to live out every day.
Thank you.
Avery Kroenke and the Tigers will head to the SEC tournament once the regular season is wrapped up, where Robin Pinchton's crew will try and make more dreams come true. In the studio, Kyle Helms, KMU8 Sports.
Thank you, Kyle. Avery's fellow Mizzou freshman Ashton Judd won SEC Freshman of the Week honors. The award comes on the back of a pair of strong performances by the freshman from West Plains. Judd had her 2 highest-scoring games of the season against Mississippi State and Texas A&M. Head coach Robin Pinchton credits the freshman's success to her attitude and work ethic.
She just looks really confident out there. I mean, she plays hard. I think she's a 3-level scorer. And not afraid of the moment for sure. Wants to watch film, wants to break it down, wants to learn, wants to be coached. And so kids like that, are obviously just going to be successful in whatever they do.
Coming up, we wrap things up, reliving the best moments of the past week in Mizzou athletics in the Tiger Top 5.
KOMU8's Mizzou Extra is presented by Harper Evans Wade and Nettemeyer and brought to you by these sponsors.
This past week featured so many memorable moments throughout Mizzou sports, from softball in Florida to gymnastics in Como. KOMU8's Kyle Helms had a tough job narrowing them all down to 5, but he is back with your latest Tiger Top 5.
This past week featured everything from game winners to a monumental performance, and our number 1 spot is, shall we say, perfect? We'll explain in this edition of the Tiger Top 5. At number 5, Jordan Weber was nearly perfect against FIU, filling up the box score with zeros to earn the 2nd individual no-hitter of her career, helping the Tigers capture the Panther Invitational Championship in Florida. At number 4, 2 great plays for the price of 1. Demoy Hodge swats a shot away, and Kobe Brown does the rest. Defense turning into offense at its finest. At number 3, walk it off Dylan Leach.
Line to left side, base hit.
In his home state of Texas, the junior catcher delivered a 1-out RBI double that gave the Tigers their first win of 2023 in walk-off fashion.
Missouri's gonna walk off with a win here in Arlington.
At number 2, another game winner for Dennis Gates' gritty group. But this time, a different Tiger stepped up. Nick Honor buries a step-back triple in overtime to send Mississippi State packing. And how would we describe this week's top spot? Perfection. Jocelyn Moore recorded a perfect 10 on the vault in front of a record-breaking crowd, becoming the first Tiger in program history to score a 10 on the vault and just the 2nd Mizzou gymnast to ever record a perfect score.
Boy, what a week. Coming up, even more exciting things. Tournament season starting for some Mizzou sports. Women's hoops will finish up the regular season before heading to the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament. And then the men's hoops team will finish things out in the regular season, starting on the road at LSU next Wednesday before coming home to host Ole Miss in the regular season finale next Saturday. Then they're off to the tournament in Nashville. Wrestling heads to Oklahoma to start the Big 12 championships on Saturday as well. So there's a lot going on. Be sure to follow it all on KOMU8 News, KOMU.com, at KOMU Sports on Twitter, and of course, right back here next week on another edition of Mizzou Extra.